Welcome back. My name is Dr. Carl Baird, and today we're moving on to video 3 of our series of a step-by-step guide to solving lower back pain at home. Just a reminder, in video 1, we showed you how to relieve lower back pain with a quick and easy 5-minute movement routine. In episode number 2, we showed you how to protect your lower back with some static postures so that we avoid re-aggravating our back as it attempts to heal itself. So be sure to check those out if you haven't. Today, we're teaching you how to move in a way that protects your back. So video 2 was static postures and body awareness to limit impact on your spine. But now we're getting into how do we move in a way that is also safe for a lower back. And we're going to start with the hip hinge exercise. We mentioned it in episode 2, but this is a really important foundational movement that anybody dealing with lower back pain should know and understand. We're going to go over the basics and show you how to progress it into an actual strength training exercise in this video. So let's go ahead and get started. The reason that the hip hinge is such an important movement for anybody with lower back pain is it teaches you how to maintain that neutral spine as you move throughout your day, in particular, anytime you bend forward, which is something we do a lot in our day. And so again, as a reminder for anybody who watched video 2, the neutral spine is the position of your spine where the least amount of impact goes through the discs and the joints. And so let's first cover how to perform the hip hinge. So again, relatively simple movement, but there's a lot you got to watch out for. So I want to start with my feet hip width apart. From there, I want loose knees. So again, I'm not actively bending my knees, but they're loose and they're not locked out. Next, I'm going to focus on reaching my hips towards that back wall while maintaining that neutral spine. I want to stop the minute I feel a little bit of tension in my legs. And so here I could go lower, but you see that's where I lose that neutral spine and I start to bend at my lower back, which is what we're trying to avoid with this movement. So let me show you just a couple so you can see what it looks like. Again, loose knees, reach those hips back, stop when I feel tension in the hamstrings, and come back up. Let me show you a couple reps. Good. And from there, let's go over a few things that can go wrong with this movement and what you should watch out for. So just a reminder, for such a simple movement, there's a lot that we have to pay attention to in order to do this right. And if we start making some mistakes, a lot of times when I teach this movement, people will talk about how it actually causes discomfort in their lower back. And that's because there's these small things or mistakes that can happen that actually put more impact on our back. So we want to make sure that we get them right. So first thing, which we mentioned in the last part of this video, is with the knees. So again, I don't want my knees locked out. I want to make sure that when I'm performing my hip hinge, I'm reaching my hips back. I allow the knees to bend, but it's not an active bend, and come back out. Versus a lot of times what people do when they learn this movement is they lock their knees out and they hinge this way. Again, this is still a hip hinge. But if we start to add any weight or resistance to us, our center of gravity is way too far forward, and that's where you start to feel tension in your lower back. So first thing, you want to make sure that you're reaching your hips back. The next thing we want to watch out for is going too low, which is what we mentioned again in the previous part of this video, where I want to really pay attention to where I feel that tension in the hamstrings, because again, I could go lower, but that's where I'm rounding my back, and that's compressing those discs and can contribute to lower back pain. So we want to make sure we're really paying attention to when we feel that tension so I can maintain that neutral spine and come back up. The next that we want to watch out for is, this is more for really flexible or really mobile people, but we want to make sure we don't overextend at our mid-back. And I'm not mobile, so it's a little hard to see, but as I bend down, I don't want to overextend in my mid-back. I can tell it's already an uncomfortable position when I get there. So really make sure you're contracting those abs, performing that abdominal brace. That'll hold everything together, hold that spine together as you come back down. And the last thing that we want to watch out for is that pelvic positioning. And this is something we talked about in video 2 that's really important for anyone with lower back pain. You have to have an understanding of how that lower back or that pelvis works, or that movement. And so what it looks like is, again, a lot of people, when they initiate this movement, they don't realize it, but what happens is their pelvis rocks forward. And that creates extension in the lower back, which, again, even without any weight, I can feel a discomfort here in my lower back as I go down. So again, to correct that, same thing as the last one. Abdominal brace holds everything together, and then try to reach those hips back without that pelvis rounding forward. So as you're performing this hip hinge movement, it's important to mind these little things before progressing to any sort of resistance. All right, so now I'm going to show you ways to add resistance to this hip hinge movement so that you can actually build strength in the movement itself. So just a reminder, before you add any resistance, it's really important that you understand and practice this movement without any weight, and make sure you can do it without any sort of pain, because if you are making some of those mistakes we discussed earlier and you start to add weight, that might even exacerbate the pain. So really make sure you get the repetitions in with no weight and you really understand it before moving to any of these variations. So variation number one, which I think is the safest to move up to after you feel comfortable with the body weight, is using a resisted band and doing the banded hip hinge. So for this, I'm taking my thumbs on each side of the band, placing it on the ground, stepping right in the middle, and then coming to this standing position. So now I'm holding it with my fingers right at my side, and then I'm just performing that hip hinge. So I got loose knees, sending my hips back, stopping when I feel tension in my hamstrings, and coming back up. And so again, what you'll notice once you add resistance is that tension in the hamstring is going to be a lot easier to feel. And so again, to make sure you're doing it right, this band should be in a straight line, pretty much in line with the bottom part of my leg, and that as I come down, it's not moving forward like that. That means I'm too far forward. It's right in line with my leg and coming back up. So that's variation number one, the banded hip hinge. Do that one until you feel strong and confident with the band, and then you can do a kettlebell hip hinge, or a kettlebell Romanian deadlift, this is also called. So for this one, I'm going to take the kettlebell in both hands and just have it hanging between my legs here. And then from there, perform that same hip hinge. So again, loose knees, sending the hips back, stopping when I feel tension in the hamstrings, and coming back up. And so again, just like with the band, I want this kettlebell to be moving in a straight line. I do not want it to be coming forward. That's going to suggest that something is wrong. But again, you can really feel that tension in the hamstrings and come back up. As you get comfortable, you can obviously move to heavier weights, and that's where this becomes a really beneficial strengthening exercise. Not only a way to protect your lower back, but strengthen your hamstrings and your glutes for less lower back pain. So there you have it. That is the basics of the hip hinge movement. And just a reminder, I can't stress enough how important it is to learn and practice this movement if you are someone over 40 who's dealing with this recurrent lower back pain. This is a way that teaches you how to bend forward without putting too much impact on your lower spine. And it is a foundation for a lot of the other strength movements that we will be adding in later into this series. So it's really important that we understand how to do it now before moving on to something more difficult. And so again, just another tip. I've taught this to a lot of movements. Some people pick it up right away and it just is second nature. For some people, this can take a while. And so don't get discouraged. Again, go back and look at some of the mistakes. If you're feeling any discomfort when you perform this movement, see if you're making any of those. Or you can leave a question down in the comments and I am happy to answer. But again, that's all I got for you today. Thank you so much for watching.